Imagine spending your entire life moving between worlds, never fully belonging anywhere. Welcome to the experience of third culture kids. Individuals who grow up navigating the spaces between cultures, communities, and identities. For third culture kids, home isn't just a place, it is a question that follows them wherever they go. This isn't just an intriguing cultural phenomenon, it's a profound exploration of identity and belonging. What happens when you're shaped by many worlds, yet don't fully belong to any of them? How does growing up in cultural limbo impact education, relationship, mental health, and the way you see yourself in the world? In today's episode, we are unpacking the complex reality of growing up as a third culture kid. We'll explore how constant movement and cultural dislocation can shape and sometimes fracture a person's sense of self. These aren't just stories of global mobility or multiculturalism. These stories are stories of resilience, challenges, and the search for meaning in a world without clear roots.
Keep your soul intact. Don't let nothing hold you back. Your soul intact.
Clyde DeMillo is a South Indian artist whose multidisciplinary practice spans drawing, collage, text, and performance, exploring themes of memory, mysticism, cultural displacement, and ethics. Born in Bombay, raised in Bahrain, and now based in New England, his work is deeply influenced by the transnational experiences and his upbringing in a family of coffin makers. Utilizing materials such as colored pencils, sumi ink, and dry pastels, he constructs layered visual narratives that blurred the boundaries between personal history and collective myth. His projects, including the Barfer Project series, the Plague series, and the ongoing Vimto Ken series, critically engage with consumerism, branding, and the ethics of representation. DeMillo has exhibited internationally, participated in artist residencies, and mentored emerging artists through the Hand Collective. His work continues to interrogate the shifting landscapes of belonging, the aesthetics of loss, and the interplay between historical permanence and personal reinvention. Good afternoon. My name is Lige Lahens. Welcome to another episode of Badly Governed. Today we have Clyde DeMillo with us. He is a historian and artist from India. Welcome to the podcast, Clyde.
Hi, Lige. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. And yourself?
Oh, fantastic.
I'm glad to see that you were able to find the studio.
Oh, it was very easy.
No traffic?
No traffic, not much.
Okay.
Comparatively, yeah.
So, Clyde, if you wouldn't mind explain to most of us, what is the experience of
Third culture kid.
third culture kid?
A third culture kid is a person who lives away from their home world.
Mm-hmm.
So home world basically is, for me, is India.
Mm-hmm.
But I grew up in Bahrain. I grew up in the Middle East and I have a little bit of Middle Eastern culture. In fact, a lot of things that I kind of recognize or associate myself with is associated with the Middle East. Even to the food, even to the drinks, American sort of life to an extent, because the Middle East has a lot of American outlets and whatnot, at least fast food outlets.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I heard about that.
Yeah. So that's the overall idea of a third world kid. A third culture kid understands the nuances of both cultures because they're growing up with their parents. So the parents keep telling them about their culture, but you get a free-hand experience of the culture that you're living in because your parents have shifted.
Right. So do you feel that your experience as a third culture kid has given you like a unique sense of belonging?
Not exactly. You are treated like an outsider from the beginning. Now think about in this manner. I went to Bahrain. I studied in an Indian school because Bahrain has a lot of CBSE. It's called Central Board of Secondary Education,
Okay.
which is a Delhi board. Now, you are growing up with understanding Indian history, Indian culture, everything to do with India. You are more associated with India in the school,
Mm-hmm.
maybe cultural associations.
Mm-hmm.
But once you're out on the streets, you feel lost.
Interesting.
And then after that, I mean, in 2002, I landed back in India. And everybody treated me like a foreigner because I had the label in my passport, even to everybody else, that when they ask where am I from, I say that I grew up in Bahrain, but I'm an Indian.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, well, you're an NRI. And unquote, NRI also means, well, in a very funny sense, back in India, non-reliable Indian. But it also means the actual meaning of NRI is non-resident Indian. Now, because of growing up with that kind of idea back in Bahrain, I was actually felt like, yes, I belong to a social club that is associated with my state in India. But in school, we are taught that, India as a whole, not associated with your state. Yes, there are groupisms that happen within schools and stuff like that. But even in school, because you are a minority in your school, you are not associated with anything here and there. You are on your own. So you're an outsider in your school. If your parents have taught you the language of your state, there is some association. But I'm also from a language section that does not have a written script.
Mm-hmm.
So I speak Konkani, which is a local language that does not have a script, but adapts to scripts in whichever place they move. Like technically speaking, Konkani belongs to Goa as a state language. But because a lot of Konkans moved long back to Karnataka, which is another state in India, they adapted the Kannada script, which is the local script of that state. So I've neither been taught that. I only know how to speak the language. But of course, because of less interaction, that language is also dying out with me because I don't have a lot of interaction with that sort of language.
Okay. All right. Okay. Interesting. That's
So-
very interesting.
Being even when you're in my art college, I was treated like an outsider because where are you? Like my professor was always constantly saying, Clyde, where are you from? What is your story? Put your story onto your canvas. Put your story into words. Talk about these things that you are trying to figure things out. And I was always lost.
So, did you ever feel like, I know you felt some sort of pressure, I'm sure, to choose between these different cultures, right? So how did you address that sense of loss through your artwork and other means?
Well, art-wise, I went back to my family's profession. So from my mom's side, we are coffin makers. My great-great-great-grandfather or I think one of these two, was a coffin maker. My mom is the last coffin maker from my maternal side. My dad is more into commerce and, business stuff and accountancy. A lot of my father's side is into numbers, whereas from my mom's side, it's more into coffin making. They shifted to numbers when they moved. When they moved from Karnataka to Bombay, which is Maharashtra, and that shift happened because of education. So I went back to coffin making because of my religion, which is Catholic. Christianity became a main source of my space of finding. European history became a space of my finding. Though Christianity is from the Middle East per se, it traveled to Europe and it established in Europe, it established in Turkey, wherever, Italy, north of Africa. So Christianity, ideas that became a part of my work, revolutions in Europe, ideas of Europe, reading the great books of Europe like Plato, Aristotle, or Plotinus. But again, it was more because to find myself, I could not find myself within both cultures. So I moved towards religion. I moved towards the Western demographic. When I was in India, a lot of my works were associated with the Western side. And,
Definitely. I definitely see that in your work. Yeah, I actually was before the episode was looking at some of the materials that you sent me. And what I could take away from it is one, there's a specific or particular time period you seem to focus on as far as Christianity is concerned. Usually the medieval era is that, okay. Then also there's a degree of commercialism in your work. It's subtle, but you can easily pick up on that if you really pay close attention to it. I know you talk a little bit about some of the unsettling things about the different spaces that you've had to live in and adjusted to. I was wondering whether anything about any of these spaces that were grounding to you at all.
Well, the church was always there. Interestingly, I used to score high in catechism than any other subject in school. In school, I scored high in history, civics, economics, maybe a little bit of physics. I was more dedicated towards the church and prayers. I mean, of course, because Christianity is European-ish in nature. The stories that came from there were more grounding because of my parents again. My father was about to become a priest long back before he met my mom.
Okay.
He had been through the seminary and all that.
And then met your mom and everything went that.
when the other way around. So, and I was born. India, again, it was the church, but it was again a resistance towards the church. It's like the church is there. I know it's an institution, but again, I'm an artist. Usually there are artists who are for institutions. There are artists against institutions. And I started criticizing the institutions that I'm associated with. And that criticism came towards self-reflection, reading philosophy, and I kind of found my space in Western philosophy. I tried my best to venture into Indian philosophy, but I could not, connect the words that were coming out. Yes, I tried to understand a little bit, but it was easy for me to talk about Plato and Aristotle or even Wittgenstein. I could not relate to how my parent culture could tell the story to me, because a lot of my parent culture is based on a religion. And that religion, again, is very fixated towards the Indian subcontinent, nowhere else.
And now that you've had a number of years to reflect on that experience, why do you think you couldn't relate?
I still could not find my place over there because I did not know how do I connect with the people there. My connection to the people were more on overarching ideas like love, death, rebellion, phenomena. And my connection with art per se was always towards modern art and postmodern art. But that's where I restricted myself, and because I could not channel that into the place where I was living. Interestingly, it shifted when I came here.
That's interesting. Talk about that.
So,
in what ways?
One thing is, being in Bahrain, you are privy to American culture, Middle Eastern culture, and Indian culture, right? When I came here, my wife took me to the Indian store. I loved the Indian store. I just love it. We went to Burlington, and as soon as I entered, I saw food that was associated with the Middle East. I saw drinks that were associated with the Middle East. So I was like, maybe my space is in flux with, three nations. Like you have the American nation, you have the Middle Eastern nation, then you have the Indian subcontinent. It all combines itself towards the Indian store. And that's what, I won't call it as the Indian store, but it is the Indian store. It's
the
more
Indian market.
The Indian market.
Yeah.
So
my mom loves it too, by the way.
So, I found the most fantastic drink that I used to grow up in Bahrain with. It's called Vimto. And I had that drink because my dad introduced me to that drink. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. I found that there and I was like, hey, that's Vimto. And I was like, I need that drink. And my wife was like, why do you need that drink? She was like, I gave her a sip and she was like, it tastes like cough syrup. Like, well, it's my cough syrup. But anyway.
Why do you love it? We don't know what that drink is.
So it tasted something different. And the interesting thing is there are so many versions of it that has come out now, because in England the same Vimto is not there. It's just the flavor is there. Whereas the Vimto that I drink, which is associated with the Middle East,
Mm-hmm.
there are actually fruits in it. It came out in England when there was a ban of liquor.
Mm-hmm.
And Vimto basically stands for Vim and Vigor Tonic. In the Arab world, the Arabs and Muslims don't drink liquor. This is an alternative and it tastes nice.
It tasted like an alcoholic beverage, but it didn't have
No,
alcohol.
it does not. It does
Okay.
not taste like an alcoholic
Okay.
beverage. It's just a fruit drink.
Okay.
I think the way it was produced was a little changed. I'm not so sure about it. But also to comply with standards that we live today with,
Mm-hmm.
it just became a flavored drink. It did not become a fruit drink.
Okay.
Whereas in the Middle East, it was a fruit
Fruit
drink.
drink. Okay.
In India, it's a fruit drink. One of my friends who
Mhm.
lives in England had the current British version of Vimto, and she was like, "There are no fruits in it."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Well,
Here
the
it does.
Middle East version has." So
Did you just appreciate the fact that you could see the connectedness
Yes.
between these different cultures?
yes,
And where in the Middle East, perhaps American culture is presented in a more stereotypical way,
yes,
right? In terms like the fast food restaurants that you would see here, like the New York pizza, etc., things like that.
more or less
Yeah.
McDonald's, KFC, Dairy Queen.
Yeah, but it's really not what it really is, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So you could, it's like the Indian market brought it together for you a little bit better.
together
yeah.
for me, and I was
In a
like,
more
"Hey,
cohesive
kubus
way. Uh-huh.
and kubu hummus and all these kind of things." I was like, "Wow."
Mhm.
It's so brilliant to see these things here. Even though being an immigrant here, even though being a transnational here, I could identify with certain nuances through the Indian store, even through a standard supermarket. Stores brought me closer to understand where I am.
That's good though. That's a great thing. So how has that impacted you and your work? Before, earlier in the conversation, you sort of talked a little bit about how your work was heavily influenced by Europe and religion and other things. Now, finding this new experience, right, with the Indian market, that's sort of like introducing something new to you in a new setting. Has that have any sort of impact on your work at all?
Quite a lot. I think I'm more towards memories right now rather than philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
I want to actually translate my memories into a visual format.
Mm-hmm.
I want to show that through migration. I want to show that through transnational workers. I wish I could get a funding to it, even go to Bahrain and photograph people over there and stuff like that, and put that into my artwork. But that's what I think. I mean, that's the overall idea. I mean, it's just that memories build me as an artist. Yes, I've got the training, I've got the ideas all in my head,
Mm-hmm.
but I think focusing on memories before they die out,
Mm-hmm.
before my brain vanishes into thin air, translating that onto a piece of paper or canvas makes more sense now than ever.
Okay. What influence did the school system have on you as a third culture kid? Having to navigate different school systems and then you having to adjust to new rules on a regular basis.
It's a little tough to say because, firstly, in Bahrain, you were
Mhm.
taught in every which way about the life in India, the history of India.
Mhm.
And then when you move out of school, like as soon as you step out of school, you see a different place,
Mm-hmm.
right? With schooling and all that, it was always, we are always treated more or less on the context of India as a whole. It's just that only after you come back to India,
Mm-hmm.
you understand the differences between those cultures.
Mm-hmm.
In a place like Bahrain, I think it was always targeted as a whole. I was reading this dissertation by Andrew M. Gardner. He says this very specifically. There are different cultural associations. There are even cultural associations in the context of clubs like the Tamil Sangam. There's something called as Konkan singers. I belong to Kannada Sangha.
Mm-hmm.
These are all state-oriented social clubs in Bahrain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That is the only way where you can interact with those people associated with your state.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have another club, which is an overarching club called as the Indian Club, which is a very old club. And in that, everybody's treated as an Indian. Yes, you might have your pockets here and there, But that is the overall idea of what people from the Middle East look at you and say, you're an Indian. Whether you're from what state or whichever state back at home, that does not make sense.
Mm-hmm.
So even in school, this was the same case. When I moved to India, that is where the nuances came out. That is where I realized I am from a specific caste. I'm from a specific economic space. I'm from a specific privilege or background or whatever. That is where all these things popped in. And that is where people were like, oh, you're an NRI, you can pay this, you can do this, you have enough donations, you have this, you have that. And I did not understand this in the beginning. Okay, but then I understood how people treat people who are outside India. Like, you're already earning the money, you can pay for education, you can do this, you can do that. Schooling wise, even I was looked as an outsider. Yes, I have friends who treated me as an insider. That is also because of the connections I made with those friends.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Those are friends that were in India.
Those were friends that were in India. In Bahrain, yes, I had friends, but once I left, I wasn't in touch with them.
Okay. And you haven't been in touch with them since?
Just randomly, if I find someone on Facebook and like, hey, how are you? Whatever, this is where I am, this is my number, get in touch with me. But after that, there's nobody in touch with anybody. Whereas my friends in India are more closer because I studied in the Fine Art College and we can interact with philosophy and ideas and whatnot through this. And I think art in that manner, even though it has its own pockets,
Right.
it's still open.
Yeah. So now that you have lived in all these spaces, what do you think you brought to not to the education system, but at least to the classes that you were teaching that is new or that is somewhat confronting some of the things that you saw and didn't like?
I never liked the caste system. That is
Right.
definite.
I have to be honest, I thought about asking about that, but I was a little worried about it.
That's all right. That's all right.
Yeah,
But I'm
go
telling
ahead.
you this in a very honest basis because though the caste system is very prevalent and I belong to a very specific caste, it kind of segregates people. It kind of makes people it creates problems. It does not help people working together. So while teaching, I would put my students in groups, whether they're from whichever side of India, whether they're the north of India, even the north and south have problems apparently. So that was very interesting. So I had to like put them together or teach them in a very specific manner. Like I taught design. So I taught design, I taught history, I taught critical theory, a little bit of philosophy, comic studies, zine making, and a little bit of product design. So when doing all of this, the overall purview of looking at this is find out assignments to solve problems, not create more problems. So that is where I looked at, and that is where even, when people are talking about history and certain things were done in history, and I give an assignment to do something with history, a lot of my students will be like, sir, this is wrong. The way it is written is wrong. And I keep telling them, listen, this was done then. The past is when this was done. Yes, you can reformat it and change it, but are you willing to change history because someone had written something in the past that is quote unquote offensive now? So you can keep with the tradition, yes, but you can also change it. Now it's left up to you of how to look at it. So I give the platform to the students.
Right.
And when I give the platform to the students, I make sure that they're well educated. They make an educated decision to see where they want to channelize their assignments or whatever into. And I taught Indian history to a fashion institute with the help of a friend. While teaching the subject, I was always looking at it from, an insider's perspective of looking at art, but also having an outsider's perspective of seeing India as a whole and how things are connected with each other. And that's one thing that I always told my students, never look at things in an isolated format. Everything is connected. Think of it as a network. These networks connect, though they stand in isolation in some points or the other, they always have this, it's like nodes, right? These nodes are always connecting with each other. So I always told them that think of this as networks and nodes and stuff like that. I would say, like, for example, the word tree. If I draw the letter T, and I did this exercise with my students. So if I draw the letter T, it looks like a tree. it looks like a stereotypical tree.
Mm-hmm.
And from the tree, from the leaves, from the bark, from everything, you get a very specific product that you use, paper. You get also another specific product called pen,
Mm-hmm.
which is basically the reed or the bark made into this thing.
Right.
You can also look at this in the context of how gods and goddesses were made. Like, for example, Egypt had the word, the god Thoth, Thoth, which sort of has a memory of the word thought,
Mm-hmm.
which gives us the word teach and teaching, because the god Thoth used to record things.
Right.
So he's a recorder. And again, we use records to teach.
Mm-hmm.
We use
Paper to record.
to record.
Yeah.
And this is what we use to teach. So this is an idea, this is an example of how connected we are.
Yes.
And how connected things are. And that is what I used to tell my students.
Oh, that's great. That's a nice message that we all could use here in the United States.
Hope so. I hope this works.
So moving often sometimes can shift one's sense of self, but also your own personal safety. Could you talk about a little bit about that from the standpoint of how stable did you feel as a kid? I think you kind of vaguely touched base a little bit about that. Can you talk about the personal safety of just leaving your home and being introduced to different societies and different countries or communities, and that sense of unsettledness that you felt as a child, and how you never really feel like you belonged anywhere?
I think that unsettling thing is also over here, whether I'm anywhere. It
Yeah.
starts that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Of course, I grew up in Bahrain, so maybe it was unsettling a little bit, maybe in my first or second standard, or maybe first few months of my first standard. I don't remember much.
Mm-hmm.
But as an example, when I came to India, I was more or less fixated on being at home.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to go out. I did not know how to go out. I was anxious. Artists, we are always anxious. Anxiety
Of course you are.
is just,
Of the wolf.
yes. So
Yeah.
the roof is going to fall over your head kind of anxiety. So that anxiousness kind of built a lot of fear and a lot of turmoil. Moving out of home was, luckily, because of my relatives back in India, it was very easy. In fact, my mom and dad would just say, go to this uncle's house, go to this aunt's house, stay there for some time, see what things are. And that adjustment factor quickly happened because family members were there.
Mm-hmm.
And these family members were more like, relax, don't worry about anything. You want to read a book, you read a book. You play a game, you play a game. You want to watch TV, you watch TV.
Mm-hmm.
But as long as we know that you're safe at home, and if you want, like, okay, let us go out to this place tomorrow. So my first glass of beer was because of an uncle who was like, listen, you're in Bangalore, capital of Karnataka. I think you need to, it's the pub state. So I think we will treat you with a beer. And I was like, I never drink.
They have a pub state.
Yeah, it's called so Bangalore is the pub capital, or one of the pub capitals in India.
Okay.
There's Delhi also, I think, and Calcutta, I think. So there are a lot of places which are like associated with the pub culture.
Mm-hmm.
So Bangalore is one of those places which is heavily associated with the pub culture.
So is that from colonization?
A little bit of colonization.
Okay.
And, well, beer introduced by the British,
Yeah.
etc., etc.
Right. Mm-hmm.
My uncle was more like, drink this glass, be a part of Bangalore. So this is how they introduced me to Bangalore.
Mm-hmm.
It's beer, it's rock and roll, it's hard rock, whatever.
Sounds like fun to me.
Sounds fun. And I like that openness towards, like, he was like, listen, you don't have to worry about things. We are here.
Mm-hmm.
We are here. Do whatever you want. Know that we are here with you. Just keep us informed of what you're doing.
Right. But that culture, we have a little bit of that here in Boston itself.
Okay.
Right. So has that been the same experience for you here?
Sort of, most of the time. But of course, the first few months was very, like, weather was the biggest shock.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I
Yeah,
come
I'm
from
sure.
a very temperate, like, Bangalore is basically located like 1,000 feet above sea level.
Mm-hmm.
When I came here, it was just cold. I was like, maybe last winter was more like, I think I can work around with this. But then January, the cold hit hard.
Mm-hmm.
And Oh my God, it was terrible.
You get used to it after a while.
Hopefully. So weather change, life per se, walking around town, trying to see the sights, trying to see Boston, trying to see museum culture over here. Definitely bought in sort of like a homely feel. Of course, my wife's family is here. I was introduced to a lot of things over here through them, and I like clam chowder. It's one of my most.
It's from here.
It's one of my most favorite dishes that I was introduced.
And you discovered Soa too.
Yes, I discovered Soa too.
Because you have a gallery there.
Yes, I have
Okay.
a gallery there. Art-wise, it's kind of open, but I'm seeing nuances here and there. I'm trying to figure out where do I fit in again here, because in India, yes, I was clearly fitting into the academic space. Okay.
But now,
But now I'm trying to figure out the art space as well as the academic space, and trying to meander between both.
okay, so you want to do both.
I want to do both.
Okay. Do you currently still have a relationship with the university that you taught in India?
Not exactly, because I was an adjunct faculty over there.
Okay.
So permanent faculty, yes, there's probably a possibility of being in touch. Yes, I'm still sort of in touch only because of my students there. Not with the faculty, but with my students.
Right.
And of course, my faculty in the sense like a recommendation letter is not far away. So it's at least easy to get things done. But students, definitely.
Because I would imagine both spaces really are pretty advanced technology-wise, right? Which is a nice segment because I want to talk a little bit about technology and how that helps someone who has gone through the whole experience of being a third culture child and who is now an adult. And how can technology leverage and support the work that you studied in India and even connect further what you're doing here with what you were doing in India? Almost somewhat opening up a window to American culture with some of the folks you are working with in India. I mean, have you thought about that, or even teaching a class from here? I know there's a time difference, so
There's a huge time difference.
yeah, so that's going to be a little challenging.
I did try to teach one class. I'm associated with New Art Center. I just got a job a few months back. I did conduct a free workshop online on the history of a very specific European art trend, which was between world wars. It's called Dadaism. And
you might want to elaborate on what Dadaism is for the folks who don't really know what it is. I mean, I know
Dadaism, briefly, Dadaism is basically a restart of art. We have technologies that changed art like forever, like just like how the wheel changed everything in the context of social life. For us artists, it is like pencils or drawing with silver or gold. And then suddenly in the 18th, 19th century, we have the coming of photography.
Which was really the biggest
game changer. And from realistic works that was done in the Renaissance, or even figurative works that are associated with some meaning in the medieval times, photography basically put this whole thing that now a technician can paint and can click photographs and make it into a composition and stuff like that. What do we artists do? So artists change the way they think about the world. That's where you have works like Impressionism, Expressionism, and all these kind of things coming up in modern art. Dadaism basically said, whatever was done after the coming of the camera was all representational. We are now living in the 20th century. We are starting the 20th century with a bang, World War I and World War II. Why don't we not represent what our culture has? And that culture is basically objects, surrealism like Dali's work, or Dadaism, which is like taking a urinal and calling it art, which many people at now would say, how can you call that art? Because it's just a toilet and you're putting it inside a museum space or a gallery space.
Yeah.
But then that change of context makes it art. It also makes it challenge the way the notions of what art is. So Dadaism challenged everything.
Right.
What is art? How is art displayed? How to frame a work of art? What is the meaning generated through it, etc., etc., etc. Then this contextual Dadaism that came up because of Neo-Dadaism and everything, which is more like, what is your story through the object that you've put, rather than just putting an object into a museum or a gallery space. Now, if I put this, I have drunk this water bottle, right? So it's contextual. It's me. It's my story with this water bottle. But I need to write it down or tell it or in a different fashion or whatever. But put the water bottle and probably put a lipstick on it or something. So my wife's water bottle or something like that. So it's it's very contextual. Now art is very contextual, looking at the streams which Dadaism gave out with, like performance art, installation, linguistics in art form.
Do you think that there's a little bit of that with during COVID that we saw virtual fashion shows?
Yes.
Do you think that is something that's grounded, or the foundation of it was really Dadaism?
Yes,
Okay.
quite a lot. But I would at least say I have seen some fashion shows, in the sense, like an example, one or two. I was conducting assignments with my students, and a lot of my students, because of the chaos that is there around the world, and we didn't have we could not buy materials, we could not get anything. What did we use? We used materials that are right in front of us.
Right.
Your old magazines. You have a scissor, cut it out, stick it, glue is there, tape is there. Make use of whatever is there in front of you and create art. It's a way of saying that there is still hope.
Yeah.
There's still hope for us, for this life.
Right. So I want to go back to the technology question. How do you think, I know there's a time difference, it's kind of challenging, but we also do know that there are different ways of teaching through technology where things can be pre-recorded, even though people are in different time zones. Assignments can still be completed and submitted on time, etc. So what are your thoughts about that? And is this something that you are working on?
I am working on more like mentorship with my students.
How do you do that?
Again, figuring out time zones. Most of my mornings are basically spent on talking to one of my students who's helping me with graphic designing. He has his own studio set up back in India. He has introduced me to certain things. I'm introducing him to certain things. We discuss model philosophy and everything around it. And we discuss how can we imply that into design, using philosophy, using ideas. That is there. I have another bunch of students, which is my collective. Again, my students are a part of my collective. Once in 2 weeks, we do this Google Meet where we basically had this plan of drawing windows. And we just meet, we draw, we talk about our lecturers, we talk about our past, we talk about our future, we talk about our present and everything around it. Like, teaching happens, but it's a very interesting way of figuring out how to teach or how to mentor or how to figure out how to create assignments for the students or whatever.
Right.
So yeah, technology definitely has helped a lot. I'm just trying to figure out how to record an assignment, but anyway, that I've figured it out. Yeah. Right now it's just live calling, getting it done, photographing, sending it through WhatsApp. I don't know whether many Americans know what WhatsApp is.
They do.
So WhatsApp
They do.
rather than iMessage, because it takes a lot of storage.
Right.
So WhatsApp, send it across. We have Google Drive. All our works are stored there. Some way or the other, we are trying to build an quote-unquote an exhibition or a set of works that might lead to something. Who knows?
Do you feel like you're embracing all this change?
Slowly. It's taking a lot of time, because just to think out of the box and see what I can do for myself as well as for my students, it's mind-numbing. It's tiresome, but I think once I start with it, it's easy.
Have your students, any of them, shared their thoughts about this? Are they excited about it, or they're
excited? They are excited because
Yeah.
I feel a lot of my students are happy just to see me, that we're doing things with them.
Right.
That's it.
That's good. You're Clyde is a super talented artist. Actually, I was having dinner with him and I didn't even realize that he actually drew me on a picture. Can you tell people where they can actually see your work, the both in Boston, but also those who don't live in Boston, where they can go to see your work?
Well, right now I'm associated with a gallery called Tag. I do not know whether I'll be associated with that gallery still. I do not know. I'm not so sure. But most of my work is available at my website, which is www.studioclyde.com. And so I recently conducted my last exhibition in India. I won't say the last exhibition in India, but my last exhibition being in India.
Yeah.
So I finished that, and I ended up here. All the works are still there back in India. Right now, whatever's there on the website are those works. I'm still figuring out how to talk about my new works, figuring out time and all that about what I'm trying to put out. I think I've sent you some of the recent works that I'm putting out.
Very nice. I saw them.
I just need to figure out a platform to slowly bring out my story.
I've heard so much about the work that you've done in India, and you've sort of like had several exhibits. And I actually read some of the articles they wrote about you. Will we ever get the pleasure of seeing this body of work here in the United States, or am I going to have to put on my own show for you to show them?
Well, I don't think a lot of these works are here. It's all associated with the gallery back in India.
And the gallery won't let you show it here?
No, unless they have a partnership with the gallery here. So whatever was done in India is everything. There's a whole Western body of that work. I published a zine on Dante's Inferno and Purgatorio, which is basically my interpretation of the entire thing. I did works based on my archive, which is, again, history books. I did surrealistic works or drawings on paper, out of which some of the works are also bought in the United States. Some of these works, there's one collector who's picked up stuff from India. Rest of my work is all in India. I have my commissioner and all that. He's everything over there.
Are they all available for sale?
They're all available for sale.
Okay.
They're all available for sale. You can go to the gallery website, which is Time and Space Gallery in Bangalore. Search my name. You can find out even other artists are there. And yeah, the works are there.
Do you have any other shows coming up?
Right now, no, but quote unquote, not in SOA, but there is the Newton Open Studio happening on April 5th and 6th, where I'll be showing some of my I've got some of my very old works because I don't know what am I going to, like, keeping my very old works back in India. I don't know what's going to happen to it. So might as well use it here and show it here.
Okay.
So I probably will be showing those over here. I'm still building my series on my experiences with trying to figure out between three cultures. It's just started. It's fresh out of the boat. It will take a while.
So it's a series of artwork?
It's a series of artworks, it's a series of drawings, collage, assemblages based on just this one drink. This one drink called Vimto. I just love that drink. But anyway.
Well, in closing, first I want to thank you for showing up. Even though it's raining outside, you still showed up. What's next for you?
Next for me. So I don't know. I'm thinking of studying. I don't know where am I going because I'm new here.
Right.
But I love teaching. Right now I'm teaching at New Art Center. Probably I'm doing my own private studies I'm actually doing my own private studies about this transnational system that I am in. And I want to translate that into my work. Would love, and I'm also a part of a studio, so we have exhibitions coming up in the studio in Turtle Studios, Newton. Hopefully it will lead into something more, like grants and whatnot.
Oh, excellent. I wish that for you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming, Clyde.
Thank you, Lai.
Thank you.